Other than not resistance training, what would you say are a couple of the biggest, weight loss, fat loss mistakes you see people making every day?
Well, the biggest one is just going about it too quickly or doing a calorie cut too quickly. What you do when you want to lose weight or lose body fat, you have to take in less calories than you burn. But you also have to consider that down the road, you're going to be at a position where you have to maintain, right? So if your maintenance calories are, let's say, 1,800 calories or 1,600 calories, well, then with a 20-pound weight loss, like where are you going to end up? 1,000 calories, and then you have to maintain 1,000 calories for the rest of your life to maintain that. So one of the biggest mistakes people make is starting too fast with the cut and not trying to build up their metabolism first. I think that's probably one of the more important things. You got to give yourself some runway to cut from so that you end up in a sustainable place.
And so how would you say that somebody should go about that part differently? Like, let's say somebody's listening to this and they're like, I definitely want to lose 20 pounds, 30 pounds. I want to lose some body fat, but I want to do it the right way. Like, what are some of the first steps they should do to make sure that they're doing it like effectively?
Yeah, well, you mentioned strength training. Definitely do that because that sends a direct signal to your body to maintain or build muscle. And that'll go a long way at keeping your metabolism running or maybe even speeding up the metabolism. Then what you want to do is you want to keep your protein intake high. Whether you're in a calorie deficit or surplus, high protein is beneficial because it does contribute more to muscle. Whether it's preservation or building, those are both good, whether you want to cut or you want to gain. And it also is got a bit of a thermic effect. They've shown in studies that 2 equal calorie diets, one being made up of a high protein intake and the other one being made up of more of a, average protein intake or lower protein intake, even though the calories are the same, the higher protein intake version results in more pure fat loss. So you want to keep your protein intake high. You want to strength train. And then if your metabolism is already slow, if you find that your maintenance calories are, in a place that maybe is not sustainable, or at least when you cut from that place, it's not going to be sustainable, then you want to do what's called a reverse diet. You want to slowly bump your calories while trying to build muscle. And then when you get to a place where your calories are high enough to cut from, then you can cut from there. And then again, you want to start slow. I would recommend most people do no larger than, let's say, a 500 calorie deficit, meaning they are eating 500 less calories than they're burning. I don't like to do deficits any larger than that for most people, just because from a behavioral standpoint, it tends to be too big of a cut, and it makes it much more challenging to maintain.
So speaking of calories, you mentioned that a lot of times people just eat like way too little calories, right? And it ends up messing things up. And they also try to go too quickly with things. How can somebody begin to get like a good baseline of how many calories they should be eating on a daily basis that's, maintainable for their fat loss goals?
Yeah, I mean, there are estimation calculators online. We have one. It's at mapsmacro.com, but it's going to give you a general idea. It's not really specific. There's such a variance between individuals when it comes to calorie burn, even with the same lean body mass. So the best way to do it is to track your current food intake. Okay, and they have really easy to use apps nowadays, like Fat Secret, for example, and enter in your food and do this for about a week or two. But don't change anything about your diet, because what you don't want to do is enter in food intake that doesn't match your regular living. So you enter it in, you get your average, meaning if it's, let's say you do it over the course of 10 days, you take the total divided by 10, and then that is probably as close as you're going to get to what your maintenance calories are. So if you, over the course of 10 days, you averaged out 2,200 calories a day, then about 2,200 calories is what's going to be required to maintain your body weight. Now you know that you would have to go below 2,200 calories to lose weight, or above 2,200 calories to gain weight. And so that's kind of the best way to approach it. Otherwise, you could use estimations, but they're going to be off by 20%, and that can make all the difference in the world.
What have you found, even with for yourself or with clients you've trained over the years, to be the best way at tracking progress of all this? Meaning, like if somebody, they find out, let's just say their maintenance calories are 2,200. Let's just say they eat, a little bit less than that to lose a little bit of weight. Like, how do they know that they're actually like on the right path with that, and when is it time to adjust?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different metrics you can measure. I like strength as a metric because getting stronger it's hard to do a lot of things wrong and get stronger. Okay. You have to at least be well nourished enough. Your programming has to be appropriate for you to get stronger. So I like strength. I like energy. I like to look at sleep. Appetite is another one. And then if from a fat loss perspective, body fat testing will give you better idea than weight will on the scale. Weight on the scale measures total body mass. And, if you gained 3 pounds of muscle but lost 3 pounds of body fat, you're not going to lose any weight on the scale, but you got leaner and you're smaller because body fat takes up more space. So body fat testing is good. You can use electronic impedance, which is an easy way to test body fat. It's not the most accurate, but you will get a trend. So let's say you test yourself, twice a week with this electronic impedance device, right? Those are the ones you put your hands on, like the handles. Let's say you measured yourself twice a week, and over the course of a month, although the number varies, that you see it trending upward. Well, now you're probably gaining body fat, or if it trends downward, you're going in the right direction. So those would be the metrics that I would measure the most.
And then as far as how to know like when it's time to manipulate calories, like what do you think is a good process for doing that? Like as somebody's starting, let's just say somebody's trending down and they're losing body fat, they're losing weight. How can somebody adjust the calories along the way?
Like what? Like when you mean if you plateau?
Yeah, let's just say somebody's like starting to lose body fat, and then all of a sudden they reach a point where they're at a sticking point where they've stopped losing weight.
Yeah, I would wait till the plateau sticks for a couple weeks before I would readjust, because body fat doesn't just come off linearly very consistently. It tends to happen in spurts, just like muscle gain does. So I would wait at least 2 weeks or so, or 3 weeks, and if the plateau sticks, then you can cut your calories a little bit more. Now, if you're already really low calorie, then you might want to go into a reverse diet to boost up your metabolism a little bit before getting yourself set up on the cut again. But it's typically when you plateau that and again, wait about 2 or 3 weeks before you'll start to readjust your caloric intake in the direction of wherever your goals are.
Right. So what I'm hearing you say is that people should keep their calories the same if they're continuing to lose weight. Like don't try to reinvent the wheel with something that's already working. But when you hit the plateau and you're not losing weight, give it a few weeks to see what happens and then adjust from there.
Yeah, don't try to make it happen faster by doubling down. If you're getting leaner and you feel good and you're getting stronger, a mistake people will make is they'll get excited and they'll push even harder. And this is when people can overcorrect or overreact, I should say, or apply too much. And even if it did work, it tends to make things less sustainable. But typically what that does is it means you're going to eat too little and exercise too much and put yourself in a position where maybe you lose weight on the scale, but you don't get leaner. And I've seen this many times where somebody will lose, 8 pounds, but 6 of it was muscle. Well, that person, even though they lost 2 pounds of body fat, the muscle loss means that their body fat percentage went up, because remember your total pounds of body fat are a percentage of your body weight. So you could lose muscle and your body fat percentage actually goes up, or lose weight, I should say, and your body fat percentage go up.
Now, would you say that's a result of not eating enough protein, not hitting it hard enough in the gym, not eating enough? Like, what have you found to be the most common thing there?
Typically, calories really low, and the workout itself is not appropriate. I don't like to say not hitting it hard enough in the gym, because you may be training really hard. It's just you got terrible workout programming, or maybe you're training too intensely for your ability to recover and adapt, right? So yeah, that's essentially it.
As far as programming goes, what have you found to be the most effective for somebody who's maybe they only have time to commit 2 to 3 days in the gym? They don't have time to work out 5-6 days a week. Like, what have you found to be the most effective?
Full body. Generally speaking, a full body routine is generally what's going to work best. So I would choose one exercise per body part. If we even simplify it even more, I would do maybe 3 or 4 compound lifts only, 3-4 sets each. Practice the lifts with a good moderate to high intensity. Don't train to failure. And then you can repeat that workout, or pick 3 to 5 different compound exercises. For most people, that'll get you really far. I'd say most people who are looking to just become more fit and healthy and mobile and stronger, they can get all the way there with just 2 days a week.
When it comes to building muscle and losing fat, I know you're a big fan of compound movements, like you just said, and strength training. If you had to pick like 5 exercises that you could do for the rest of your life to help you maintain a healthy level of body fat, maintain muscle, what would they be?
Oh, your deadlift, your barbell squat, your overhead press, your bench press. And you could probably you could throw a row in there. That would be the fifth one. And you've kind of hit all the everything. You might want to throw in some rotational movement as well if we could add a sixth movement type pattern. But the five that I listed, you'd get really far with.
Now, why did you bring up those five? Was it just because it's the biggest bang for the buck? Is it because of what they do for the body? Like, why those five?
Well, you're working every major muscle in the body. You're working the muscles in concert or unit. You know they're working together, so you're developing good recruitment patterns. The carryover from the strength that you build in those exercises is apparent and valuable for the real world. So it's got what's called functional applications. So you get stronger at those movements, and then you go move a couch or you go do something physical. You'll feel the extra strength, and it'll be applicable versus, building strength in other exercises where sometimes you don't get so much of that functional benefit. They also, most bang for your buck, they produce the biggest changes with the least amount of time. They work stabilizers and core stability muscles because they're all, kind of these big compound gross motor movements, and they're all free weight.